Alright, as a follow-up to the smash hit video, 10 iconic decks from Rivals history, we're going to be doing 10 iconic B-tier decks from Rivals history. So this is decks that people played a lot and were pretty famous, but really were never actually, like, great decks. I'm not going to say these decks were never good. Obviously, like, some of these decks have been good in certain metas and so on. But these are decks that I would say were pretty much B tier throughout most of their existence. I considered putting Mutant Chuggy in here again, but we already had it in iconic decks. And I think a lot of people would get mad if I said Mutant Chuggy was B tier, even though historically it has like never been a top deck. It's always just been like on the edge of being a top deck. So the first one we're going to play with is BR GDI. Sorry BR for calling your deck B tier. Unable to authenticate user. Oh no. Yeah.
Will only make me strong.
So you can just test it. You can just queue into a game, close Rivals, try and queue into another game, and have your mate be the person you queued into, and you can see them still sitting in the game whilst you queue into a new game. So it's just very easy to test. But yeah, the reason I know is because my buddy who worked in the game told me, but then also I've tested it. I tested it on stream because a bunch of people didn't believe me, and I was like, watch me do it. Here is another person in the game, and I'm still able to queue.
Unit ready.
So yeah, very easy to test. Nice mate flex. Yeah, yeah, mate is required. You do need a friend to do this with, otherwise it doesn't work. That is a good point. A good point, well made. So we're playing against the infamous Grape Boy. If I could put anyone in infamous tier B, it would be Grape Boy. Because Grape Boy's great, but he's just a solid B tier guy. I actually feel really mean saying that. I like Grape a lot. But it was funny, so, you know. Yeah, I feel like that was overly harsh. That was maybe too mean, even though it was funny. It was definitely funny, though. Poor Grape. He's playing Fanatics, so I feel like he's in bad shape against the R deck. Whoa there, Nelly. What the fuck, bro? Ah, shit. If I was on mobile, I'd be able to block him there, but on PC you can't. So unfortunately, there's no way to prevent him from getting on there. Yeah, on mobile you can block them out. I was obviously not gonna, my unit was not gonna live long enough to hold off his Fanatics. So I had to try and do a different block. Which would probably have worked on mobile, but does not work on PC. So Kane is really like his trump card in this matchup, because his deck's pretty bad against Shocks and Tank. Obviously Kane will counter my tanks, and then it's going to be quite difficult for me to win. So I need to be winning by enough that a Kane does not beat me when it comes out, basically. That's the spot I need to be in. Actually going to make use of the infamous Hammerhead in the BR deck. What a time to be alive.
Unit ready. Unit lost. Unit lost.
If he Kanes now, I'm in trouble. Okay. I think I'm fucked, boys. I think it's over.
Unit enhanced. Unit ready. Unit lost.
Maybe not. He didn't kill the hammer, which gives me a chance, I think. Maybe not. I should have killed his. I should have finished off this obelisk. Yeah, the obelisk just beats my deck. Oh wait, hang on. Oh, we're on. We're on, chat. Yay. All right, not dead. That was fucking close though. It cost us like infinite Tiberium as well to win that missile.
Unit ready. Unit lost. Unit ready.
Tactical coordination.
Awaiting orders.
Shockwave tickler just point.
Ready to launch. I'm on it.
Unit ready.
Capacity.
Let's go.
Unit lost.
Get up. Hold it. Land will rip through 'em. Pistol ready for back. Gonna hit 'em hard. Will people here? You the Jew. Listen, moving. Gonna take a BT. Let's get up.
Cranking it up.
Unit ready.
Last Predator cannon. Lock and load. Ready for
Unit lost.
People ready. Moving. Awaiting orders. This tank loaded.
Unit lost.
Burning it full in a breeze.
It's gonna be bad when the obelisk comes out. Hey, there it is.
Cranking it up.
Unit lost.
Clear sky. Hammerhead in the green.
Unit lost.
Crank. Settle down.
Unit lost.
Burn it. All right, let's do this.
Unit ready. Unit lost.
Luckily, he did it a little early. I don't know if he thinks maybe the obelisk actually generates value. I don't know. Kind of needs the obelisk for. He kind of needs the obelisk for the end of the missile, but it probably is going to be off cooldown by the end of the missile. We'll see.
Cranking it up.
Unit ready.
It is, in fact, off cooldown by the end of the missile. The obelisk just hammers us, honestly. The obelisk is such a beating.
Unit lost. Unit ready. Unit lost.
If I'd sent the hammerhead directly to the left, I think we'd be okay. They would have got there in time, and we might have saved that missile, but yeah.
Unit lost.
Obelisk kind of just counters my deck.
Mission failed.
Okay, so our next B tier deck is Jade Chems. The reason I'm putting this in B tier is that this has almost always been worse than playing Flamers instead of Chems. Oh, sorry, Ice, you can obviously play as well. Yeah, this deck there's been very few times in Rivals history when it's been better to play this deck with Chems instead of Flamers. Like, Flamers have almost always just been better. I mean, there were times when Chems were broken and then Chems were better and Flamers were trash. But generally speaking, it's almost always been better to have the Flamers over the Chems, which is why I put this in B tier. Because it's basically never been right to play this deck. The main problem with the Chems is just it's so expensive to get like your first Chem Warrior. And then even when you get your first Chem Warrior, normally what happens with your first Chem Warrior is the opponent will make two lasers and you won't be able to catch them both, so you'll still end up losing. Our opponent is pop capping us because he's a fucking bellend, so he's gonna get first missile. So congrats, Lemos. You're a very skillful player. Congratulations. You abused the hell out of the pop cap mechanic, and I'm very proud of you for doing so. As I'm sure your mother is as well. Hey, a Banshee. What a surprise. I would never have guessed Banshee. That's why I had bikes already here. Pig tank. Yeah, that makes sense. That checks out. That checks out with Pop Kappa. These things make sense to me.
The name is Jade.
Surprised there's no Tic Tank coming out. I think he would have taken this chance to try and get a Tic Tank. He's still desperately trying to pop cap me. Because as previously mentioned, he is a bag of dicks. Oh shit, I have Phantom instead of Banshee. That's super awkward. That's really bad. That is really bad.
Phantom Scorpion ready to sting. Phantom awaiting scope. Chemical for Kane. Scorpion ready.
Unit offline.
Fire. Here's Will. Lasers. Phantom awaiting target. Lori is taking the cool for the Brotherhood. There it is, Leo. Kill Lori the EM. Lori to Campbell for Kane. Let's see if there it is, Leo.
Unit ready.
Scorpion tank reports a stinging. Listen, Lori Phantom.
Catalyst missile incoming.
Scorpion rolling.
Unit offline.
Scorpion tank on the move.
A cerebral maneuver. I will study your tactics. A cerebral maneuver.
I don't like pop cappers.
Enemy base destroyed.
3.
Fire the obelisk!
New objective.
Ah, nice. Mr. Pop Capper again. So this time we're playing Shitty Fortress. Which I think has always been a pretty solidly B tier deck. So this is Sling, mlrs. We're not playing the Shatterer because we didn't want to take it too far. We didn't want our deck to be like fully F tier. We did want the B tier version. But this is definitely not a good deck and has never been a good deck. It is good. It's going to be good against Tic Tank though. I'll tell you what. If there's one unit in the game that fucking obliterates Tic Tank, it is mlrs. mlrs kills Tic Tank extremely quickly. Alright, is he going for the half or is he going for the mlrs? He's going for the mlrs. Okay, makes way more sense. Whoa, I didn't expect the buggy to be coming in because I have an mlrs, so that was surprising. This should go around here. Yeah, he's obviously gonna make Banshee, but I already have Sling. I don't already have Sling. Sling is taking too long. This is sad. Alright, easy first missile still. I assume he's gonna try and pop cap me some more, because as previously mentioned, we'll try and block out this laser as much as possible.
Unit lost.
Double drop in the face. Cranking it up.
Unit lost.
We're cranking it.
Firing. Let's set up.
Watching the anti-air relocated. Harvester ready to take it here. Let's stick together. Slingshot guns are moving out. Using slingshot and
Building.
I don't actually know why I made a Razerback here. That feels like a misplay.
Unit enhanced.
where's the atlas drop? Shockwave ready. Shock.
Destruct long range.
But it looks like we're gonna be fine. Maybe.
Ready for moving out.
Missile cancelled.
Maybe.
Unit lost.
Slingshot rocket.
Missile cancelled. Nuclear missile launched.
Slingshot.
A brilliant move.
I don't like pop cappers.
Objective complete.
3, 2, 1. New mission received.
Alright, so this used to be one of my favorite B tier decks.
Building online.
This is the Kane Tic Tank deck. But now I'm kind of sick of Tic Tank. I'm over it, man. Tic Tank's a really dumb unit. So now I like this deck a little bit less. Am I married? I am not married, no.
Unit ready. Before the Brotherhood ready to serve.
Although apparently Mammoth wants to get with me, so you know, wedding bells might be soon.
For the Brotherhood. Don't stop. Destroy the GD.
Opponent has no half Scarab rushed us. Oh dear. Unlucky King.
Militia here. Rip them up for the 4K. We're ready taking position. Militia here. Unit offline.
Unlucky, my guy. I feel pretty confident that we're gonna win here.
In there.
I feel like we're in a pretty good spot at this point.
Nuclear warhead launched.
I think it's so dumb. I could just completely ignore these missiles. I could 1v1 the missiles and win. Tic Tank comfortably beats a missile squad 1v1.
The weeds are wilted. Fear the green thumb.
Big tank is basically 70 cost mammoth. I mean, obviously it's not, but you know, there is an absurd unit. Yeah, I mean, this game is going to be over pretty soon. I feel kind of bad for this guy, but what are you going to do? Man, Scarab OP. Scarab's your favorite unit, but you never use it? That's so sad, man. You should use your favorite unit. Have some fun with it.
You are victorious.
Three, two, one.
Alright, so now we're playing Reb Solomon, which I think is one of the most well-known B tier decks of all time. This was the OG aggro GDI. Very aggressive, relies heavily on Solomon. Also, this is a classic deck of relying heavily on Jump Jet plus Drone Swarm. Like, this deck spammed the crap out of Jump Jets and Drone Swarm, or Jump Jets and Drone Swarm, or Jump Jets and Talon. This is like the OG, I'm gonna throw stuff that can't be blocked at the pads deck. So yeah, this deck is obviously a lot worse now. But this was a very good deck. Well, actually no, it was never a very good deck. That's why it's in my B tier decks list. This was never a very good deck. This was a solid deck for a while that was like, it was like a pet deck. Like, Reb played this deck non-stop. Pretty much the only deck he played. But it was never actually great. But he was pretty good with it. It really relied heavily on the Jump Jet spam though to win games. Like, that was the busted thing you'd do, is spam Jump Jets and Talons. And against Nod you'd have Drone Swarm, which was just obviously goated against Nod.
Unit ready.
But yeah, I'm not gonna go ahead and say this deck was ever actually particularly good, because it really wasn't.
Unit ready. Unit lost.
Oh, what's our opponent playing? Looks very similar to our deck.
Unit ready.
I need to figure out
Unit lost. Unit lost.
what's a Solomon here.
Unit ready. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit ready.
I think I should have Solomon just then. Like a second ago when the Pipple was coming out. I think that was the ideal time to Solomon.
Unit lost.
Now it's a little bit too late. Yeah, now it's a little bit too late and it wasn't great. But we still get there. Yay! Reb Solomon OP deck.
You are victorious.
Alright, our next B tier contender is the Giga Chuggy deck, which, to be fair, there was a time when this deck was pretty busted. Before Giga and Chuggy both got nerfed, this deck was pretty strong. The reason that I'm going to put it in B tier decks is because this was more of a tournament deck than anything else. Like, this was never really a good ladder deck because it's so map dependent. So I think I feel okay putting this in like the B tier list. Because this was a tournament deck that you would play when the map was good for Giga and when Giga and Chuggy were both busted. These days you would not play this deck for sure. Oh, that's cheeky. I love that. I love that play. Back in the day that was a really common play where you'd use the turret to force a tempo switch. Because your opponent has to tech switch when you turret because you automatically win the rifle war, which forces your opponent to tech switch, at which point you know exactly what you're countering, so you can basically spend 40. You're spending 40 to force a tech switch from the opponent, which I think is actually a pretty decent deal. Not so much this meta, I feel like this meta it's less important, but there's definitely been metas where it was really important to not be the first to tech switch. Mostly metas where people played like consistently free building decks and building the wrong building could be a death sentence. So yeah, I think that's a cool play that used to be a lot more common than it is these days. I'm gonna get the Giga here, I think that makes sense. He's got a couple of rhinos. Yeah, there's also this turret to deal with. Boosted Giga should clean shit up, hopefully. Yeah, good job, Boosty Giga. Alright, let's see if our opponent has Orca in his deck.
Nuclear weapon launched.
I want to force the issue. At the moment, the Giga is clearly the best unit on the field. So I want to make it a priority for him to deal with the Giga Cannon. Alright, he actually dealt with it pretty nicely and quite well with just missiles and Pitbull. Although we are maybe still going to get the Harvester. We kind of need to get the Harvester now. Okay, he does have Walker in his deck. Yeah, we kind of needed to get the Harvester there because we committed our Giga to it. So if we want to rebuild the Giga, we're going to need to get the Harvester kill. I actually don't know if I need to rebuild the Giga though. We'll see. It might not end up being necessary. Alright, I think we need it for the Rhinos. Drone Swarm actually not great now because we already have the Banshees out.
Unit offline. Unit ready.
This went pretty well, honestly. That was super close to not getting on that pad in time. But yeah, we got him.
Objective complete.
3, 2,
Okay, now we have the Agent Shadow Borka deck. This deck was okay when Borka was really good, but even then it was never a great deck.
Love you.
This
too,
was
Coach.
very much a deck that was carried by Agent Shadow being very good at the game.
Love you
I
too,
believe
Coach.
our opponent is Mutant Chuggy. We played against them a few times recently. Unless I'm getting them confused with someone else. I think he's... No, he opened Wheels, so it's probably not Mutant Chuggy. Oh, he's Artillery. Yeah, he's Artillery. That's what this guy's playing. This is Scavtillery for sure.
building
Snipers are pretty good against Scavenger.
That's a bigger dog. Run the fire. Green light. Hold it. A bite is bigger than my ball. Burning rubber. A bite. All right. Blast. People here. People ready for anything.
Snipers are actually really good against Scavenger.
Unit ready.
Oh, where are you going, Pitbull? Where are you going?
Lost.
Bro, that Pitbull just threw. We have to use Liang now to hold the missile.
Missile cancelled. Nuclear warhead.
Alright, thank you, Liang, for holding.
Lost.
Obviously, our opponent has been near our sniper now, which means it's basically dead. As soon as your opponent goes remotely close to a sniper, that's it. The sniper's worthless.
Unit lost.
I'm on it.
Love you. Love you too, Coach.
I'm moving out.
We do have Borka for when the artillery comes out,
Unit ready.
so maybe, hopefully that'll be good enough. I kind of think it won't. Looks like he's saving for it now.
Building online.
There it is.
Unit lost.
Ready to got it. Orca bomber ready to run.
I think this is unlikely to be good enough.
Squad here, sir.
Yeah, because he's just going to surround the artillery with Banshees.
Squad Orca bomber ready to run.
Unit lost.
I'm on it.
Unit ready.
Yeah, it's so dumb, man.
Unit
Super dumb unit.
Unit lost. Unit ready.
I think I'm dead. I don't think you can ever beat artillery realistically. Once artillery comes out, it's over. No one can actually beat artillery. I needed to wait till I had a hammerhead and a Borka maybe, but yeah, you can't ever really beat artillery. The unit is
Structural damage.
just the most
received.
broken unit in Rivals. By like a reasonable margin as well.
Unit ready.
Hammerhead saving the day. People here, green light.
Thanks, game. I'm aware.
Hammerhead circling. All hammers.
Unit ready.
Love it.
Artillery is exactly the kind of unit Borka should be good against.
Burning rubble. Hammerhead circling. Missiles prime. Missiles prime. Missiles
Oh, I didn't even know he had fanatics.
Unit ready. Unit lost. Unit ready.
Look at this. It's just ass. It's just actually garbage. Such a shit unit, man. It's crazy how bad it is.
Ready.
Yeah, Borka is just terrible. 'Cause this is the matchup where Borka should be good, but it just doesn't do anything. You can't literally just can't beat artillery. So broken.
Control and inspire.
Our base has been
Amazing.
destroyed.
Orca should beat it. Orca does not beat it because it's surrounded by banshees. Like, the first thing you do after making your artillery is surround it with banshees or lasers. So you can't get an Orca to it. You can't get anything to it. It's completely broken. It's been broken for, like, basically the entire of Rival's existence. The thing is, there's a bunch... It used to be kept in check by double half decks, because actually artillery came out quite late and was horrible against tech units. So that was a thing that really kept artillery down. And also, if you play Jade or Solomon, you instantly win against it. Like, it literally is hard countered by Jade and Solomon. So it's not actually like... It's just like playing no half MG, honestly. It's just another deck where you're like, I'm going to play this and hope my opponent doesn't counter it. And if they do counter it, I'll lose. So, yeah. It's pretty similar. It's pretty similar to... it's just pretty similar to no half MG. Anyway, deck we're playing now is... What am I playing? Oh, I'm doing double half Inferno spam. That's it. A classic B tier strategy. This strategy actually has been like... Well, now that Inferno's nerfed, it's not good. But this strategy was just busted. Like, this strategy was just busted for a really long time. And it honestly was like... Unless you had air to air, it basically was unbeatable. But people didn't really play it. Like, it just wasn't that popular. But if you don't have an air to air unit, this strategy was completely unbeatable. Like, it was actually just unbeatable. Your deck, like, all ground-based decks just folded super hard to double half Inferno spam. That's not true anymore, but also, like, Banshee's really common now, which makes the deck way worse. Like, everyone has Banshee, so this deck doesn't function the way it used to. Also, Inferno's bad now. So those two things have really really put the kibosh on this deck. I'm gonna just sack off this this single bike as well because I don't want it. You play it pretty similar to a normal Inferno deck. Once you get the Inferno out, you make lasers and you just bomb things that kill lasers, and then you win with lasers. That's kind of the game plan. Except that you make way more Infernos than you would with a normal Inferno deck. You just make like an ass load of Infernos. You don't really care what they trade for either. Like, you make pretty bad trades with your Infernos. You just don't care because you're double half. I'm playing Kane as well with it. Sure, I don't care. Oh, I actually dodged it by accident. Lol. Yeah, you play Kane with it as well because, like, Pitbull spam is something people often do against your double half Inferno spam, and then you just obelisk the Pitbulls. But yeah, this was like one of the most... I talked about this in videos before. The double half Inferno spam pre-Inferno nerf, I think, was one of the best easy decks to play in all of Rivals. It required almost zero skill because you just make two harvesters and spam Infernos, and it was incredibly effective against almost everything. So I don't really know why more people didn't play it. I think it was super strong and very easy to play.
3, 2.
Okay, now we have the old school Razerback Mohawk Liang deck from way back in the day. This was, again, never an A tier deck because Mohawk just isn't good enough. Mohawk has never been a good enough unit to be an A tier deck. It's almost always better to play Orca. The only reason this deck actually did well at all is that you could crutch on Liang. If you played, when everyone was playing bikes as their primary anti-air instead of Stealth Tank, because Stealth Tank just hard counters this deck. Like, Stealth Tank makes this deck absolutely horrible. But when people were playing Razorback, what am I saying? When people were playing, excuse me. When people were playing bikes, is what I'm trying to say. When people played bikes, you could put a Mohawk with a Razorback, and the Mohawk will one-shot a bike if a Razorback is helping shoot it. which means that you could clear bikes really quickly. And then, because you had access to Liang, you could use Liang. Sorry, give me a second. Because you had access to Liang, you could Liang your units as well. I'm in trouble here. Yeah, because you had access to Liang, you could also Liang your units, which would let you make them basically indestructible.
Unit lost. Missile cancelled. Unit
Should actually get a Mohawk in this situation. I probably should have gone Mohawk instead of War Factory, to be honest, because it does do pretty well against pit bulls.
Unit ready. Unit lost. Unit ready.
Yeah, Liang is... The problem obviously now, this deck is even worse than it was, and it wasn't good anyway, because like Liang is total garbage. I assume I'm gonna kill these dogs in time? Yeah, and then I'll kill the missiles as well, and then I'll win the missile. Alright, cool.
Unit ready. Nuclear weapon launched.
Yeah, Liang is like hot trash now, so that makes this deck a lot worse. Also, this deck is awful against Slingshot, like truly abysmal against Slingshot, which is a pretty big negative to have in this meta game. Slingshot is very common in this meta. Borka, you say? Well then, I'm gonna block it from getting to my Predator and just let him bomb everything else. Alright, that seems fine. Borka is trash, as we just saw when we tried to use Borka to beat artillery. Just a garbage unit.
Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit lost. Unit lost.
Ready to race. Wish I could. Listen, talk to me. Blast them. Pitbull in the dog. Awaiting the lock at lows.
I'm gonna send the missiles over to try and trigger this Borka.
Unit ready. Unit lost.
Burning best Pitbull. Ready to race. Hey, whose side are you on? It's my day. Rotor's hit. You Pitbull in a dog fight. Hold on to your
I could do with a Mohawk here.
Unit lost. Missile cancelled.
Pitbull in a dog. Pitbull ready to fight. Oh, gunship advanced. Pitbull ready for anything.
Unit ready.
That's not where I wanted to put my Liang drone, but whatever.
Unit ready.
Going overhead. I'm a maverick. Pitbull to the juice. Metal to the metal. All right, let's do this. Razor affirmative.
Ugh, played this game so badly, man.
Unit lost. Unit lost.
He's really trying to get on third pad, but he actually should be focusing on just holding the two. Like, he's throwing units away trying to get to third pad when he'd be better off
Missile cancelled.
just keeping them for the two middle pads.
Unit lost. Objective complete.
Establishing battlefield control.
Okay, I think this is last deck. I'll have to check afterwards, but I think this is 10. This is... I've actually forgotten what I'm playing. What am I playing? Oh, I'm playing the Frontier deck. Yeah, I'm playing the Frontier deck. So this deck is weird. I think I'm supposed to actually open bikes with this deck, but... Yeah, I messed up and went rifles first. This is a weird deck. It has like 3 anti-infantry units. And it has mutant. It's got mutant and chuggy, but it's not a mutant chuggy deck. This deck basically relies quite heavily on just spamming 60 cost units at your opponent. Like, you make a lot of...
Your command, sir.
You make a lot of chuggies and mutants and just ram them at your opponent. This is also the deck that is best set up for just attacking your opponent's harvester. Like, you make a mutant and you just boost it at your opponent's harvester. It's actually like quite an... Like, the deck does want to do that as well, because it's so many expensive units. But you actually end up kind of wanting to get harvester kill. I'm doing the same as last. I was going fast Borka, sure. I have Phantom, so I guess I'm making that one. This is the problem with Borka, you see? You see how bad it is? Like, it didn't even finish off the rifles. It drops its bombs too quickly, and they don't have enough area. I actually was a huge advocate for the faster bomb drop, but that's the nerf I wanted. That's it. I didn't want anything else to happen. The AoE nerf is what killed Borka. Then they also did the fast bomb drop, which was the nerf that it originally needed, in my opinion. Because the problem with Borka is that you would bring a Borka in, and it would not only kill everything on the pad, but it would also deny the pad for like 10 seconds. It was ridiculous. Like, you literally couldn't get back on the pad for ages. You had to wait till the Borka was finished unloading its volley to get back onto the pad. And that was the problem with Borka. It killed everything, but then you also couldn't contest the pad for the entire final charge, because it took so long to finish dropping its bombs. So the only nerf Borka needed, in my opinion, is the speed. Now, you could say it's not a nerf, but the bombs dropping much quicker, I think, is the answer. It was always the answer to Borka. Maybe it needed a small area nerf to go along with that, maybe, because it was obscene. But if it bombs and it's done in like 2 seconds, it kills everything nearby, but that's all it does. And then it stops for a while. So, I personally think the faster bomb drop was the solution to Borka. I think the area nerf was too much. Anyway, there you go, guys. 10 B tier decks. Hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you all next time.